It's ridiculous. Wait a minute. Oh, but even better. That was so confusing.
That kind of spoiled it.
It did. It was better if we had started off and just left it go and loop. Hello, Caleb. Welcome. Don't say anything. Don't say a word. We better get to drinks pretty quickly now. Okay, I'll say this. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 23rd. We are 2 days. No, it's a 20. Well, you know what? You're 2 days and change. We are 2 days into getting shorter days in terms of daylight. The days are all the same length, actually. That's actually, let's say it the right way, because everybody says the days are getting shorter. They're not getting shorter. It's just daylight. Less daylight. So,
yeah.
Congrats. Hey, guys, congrats to Caleb.
Thank
there
you.
You go.
Apologies.
Very
I
nice.
have a slow clock in my office. Or wait. Yeah, slow.
Slow clock.
I'm like, la, 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 la. Look at my phone.
It's no problem. That's
Collecting all my
Caleb's like
stuff, having some almonds.
nothing wrong with some almonds. We're live. It just said that. I just got the I don't know what the hell we're talking about. It's a bunch of nuts here. Okay, here we are. It's June 23rd / June 24th, 2021. We are hanging out. It's been a few weeks, and we've got 360 Grad, Small Brown Fox, in the chat. And a third person just arrived. Man, slow. I don't know what's happening, but it's okay.
Yeah,
we're
slow.
happy. Should we get into drinks while we're waiting?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Red or blue? 360 Grad. No, I'm kidding. I know what you're saying. Let's do it. Ben, what are you having to drink today?
So this, which I bought and then thought I can open this, and then we haven't done a show for ages, so I've actually got halfway down the bottle. It's not quite Caleb empty, but it's, you know,
I was just going to say, yeah.
Oh, Talisker. Nice.
Yeah, come on, focus. Talisker, which is lovely. I haven't had a bottle of Talisker for ages. Really like it. Bought it in England thinking it would be a lot cheaper than buying it in Czech. It's actually cheaper here. But I found something out for the future. So
Very
that's
nice.
what I'm on. It's
You
very
learned
good.
something. You learned something. You paid a
something.
little bit more to learn something, and that's what education is all about. You pay a price to learn something, always.
So I shot some. Talisker did this whole sea stories of people who live by the sea, and I shot some of one of those, these little spots that they did, and it's kind of been on my list of things that I need to be drinking again since I did that. It was very cool. It was so this guy, he was a swimmer and he works on an oil rig, but his big thing was that he liked swimming in ice in the sea and in ridiculous cold temperatures and stuff. So they did this little film because they're by the sea. They did this whole series about people who live their lives by the sea, all that kind of connection. It's very good. Interesting little job.
Your voice is very calming there too.
I know.
See, it's
like
when you're saying and they live by the
Bible
sea.
or something.
I know. I'm ready.
People make a living off of that.
Yeah, you could be.
You know, I do voice work here now.
You could be the white, Lake District version of Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but you could be, because he has such a calming voice, and I kind of felt like you started to get into a groove right there, and I actually felt like I was by the sea, and I'm not being facetious. Mm-hmm. I'm being honest about that, and
cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not taking the piss. I really was like, okay, now we're in story time, and I was like, I'm by the sea. I liked it, and it actually makes me change what my drink is going to be. So give me 1 second.
Oh snap!
Oh, okay.
Speaking of by the sea, is it something Scottish? By the sea in Scottish land?
It is. I was going to have just sort of the whatever is in this, which is probably a Glenlivet 12. But I'm going to have a Jura 10 here. So this is going to be, has a little bit of sweet, a little bit of smoke. It's not too expensive. And you were drinking Jura quite a bit in our last round.
I was.
That didn't sound right.
Yeah.
And there you go. And I'm going to have that. So I'm pouring.
Again at the moment.
Oh, I like Irish whiskeys. Your island? Oh, you mean Isla? Island, not Irish.
Spey ones I kind of flip between.
Copy that. And Caleb, what are you having, sir? Another beer?
Today, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the most expensive thing I've consumed. I was gonna have this, before a chemical plant exploded. Gonna have this to kind of celebrate the third DSLR video shooter baby entering this world. But let's see if you guys can figure it out.
Oh, it's the tequila of the tequilas right there.
Oh,
there it is. Oh, that stuff is amazing.
Yes, it is. So I got this as kind of a yay, you can have a drink with me, wife. So we've already had a little bit, but I'm gonna bust that out today. Very exciting stuff for me. Had this with Jem and Ben, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That last NAP.
Yes.
We spent the equivalent of this whole bottle on 3, or no, we shared some. I think I can't recall. It's been a long time. So there it is. That gorgeous pale gold.
Okay. All right, let's do this, and then I gotta change my audio levels.
Totally wrong glass for this, probably.
Love you guys, and to number 3, Caleb, and thank you for joining the club. You're in the 3 club now.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes. Well behind me in years, but you're in.
I'm
to Caleb.
That's a membership exclusive to you two, and I'm staying well out of that one. Slancher.
Oh, delicious. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so I've got a little bit of work here to do in the background. David has sent me.
Okay.
Now David's Wi-Fi has come back to life. I have 27 emails from him, so I'm going to try to format these. Before I do that, because I'll have to pop those in, it's going to be a little strange doing that in the background, so I may have to mute myself, or I don't know how I do it. I don't know how I build this. I might have to do it in real time, is what I may have to do, David. That may be what I have to do.
Meanwhile, in the chat, Johnny, 6 strings, 360, small brown fox, Roz, and David. Good to see you guys. And where is it? Ooh, small brown fox just coming out of the coronavirus. First day of negative test.
Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations.
I'm glad you're on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's the UK's gone mad again. It's kind of.
Oh, has it? Oh, I was going to ask you, what are things looking like by you? You said it was nuts for you guys. Is it calmed down?
Here, it's completely gone, more or less. Like there's 100 cases a day, essentially.
Good.
Like you can forget about it. There's still restrictions and stuff on, masks but everything's open. Everything's kind of working. Events are happening again. Outside you would never know. It's only when you go in. But here's great. The UK, meanwhile, when I was there a month ago, there were around 1,000 cases a day. 16,000 yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. So, and I'm going back there next week. Week after.
Well, you know that Delta means amount of change. So there's an amount of change. That's what Delta means. So we have a Delta variant. I think that's what it means. Isn't it Delta is the amount of change? Delta.
I don't know.
I think so. That's what I heard. I'm too dumb to really know what that means, but it seems like somewhere stored in the memory banks.
Delta just the cool way to say D if you're in the military.
Yeah, it is. And Z is the cool way to say
Bravo,
Z.
Charlie, Delta. Yeah, that's it. So
Z. I still don't get it, but it's okay. My audio's a bit too hot. Well, thank you very much, 360 Grad. I'll be right back.
The first one should have all the pics. Oh, the kids. Yeah, I was talking to someone about that, and I think phones changed that. Because back in the day, you had to bust out the DSLR or whatever camera to take a photo of your kid. You're all about it with your first, and then the second and third, it's like you're just lazy. You're sitting on the couch, they're doing something cute. You're like, I'm not going to go get that. It's probably batteries are dead anyway. But now with our phones, we can just... I just think true. I was talking to a friend, the next generation... I've had to help my grandparents, move out or as they're aging and passing away and stuff, deal with all their stuff. And for them, the silent generation, they just have stuff because they kept everything because they lived through the Great Depression. So they just saved everything.
Yep.
And you got to deal with that. Our kids, their burden to bear or cross to bear is going to be all of our stupid data, like thousands and thousands of screenshots of like just dumb random information that we save.
Oh, I know.
And I do not envy them.
No, and then on
full well they're
top
going
of
to do
that,
nothing with it. That's just going to be delete.
Yeah, delete. Or they're going to pick up an SSD and like, what is this?
I know. They're going to open up boxes
floppy
and
disk.
boxes of like SideQuest drives, zip drives, mini DV
Yep.
tapes, and then they're going to get to what, by the time they get to them, is probably going to be thousands of hard drives. And
Yep.
if I were them, I'm saying this right now in the show, just throw that shit out. Don't spend the time,
Right.
okay? You have more to do in your life. I won't give a shit. There's so many hard drives I will never look at again in my life. So,
Yeah.
Likewise.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I've got a whole giant tub of my grandfather's like beta tapes, Betamax stuff, zip drives, and what were the OG, the big boys, the big floppy
SideQuest.
daddies?
Oh, floppies?
Yes.
Not the SideQuest. Not SideQuest.
Well, like the big
floppies.
No, the
5.5-inch floppies.
Yeah, the
The
5.5
properly
inch.
flexible.
Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna turn it into like wall art, just different types of media, spray
Nice.
painted all the same color. But there's probably, he was a doctor. There's probably people's like, if they still work, medical
Don't look-
records. And all this crazy
Don't
old
look
stuff.
don't look too far into those. You don't want to know what you find. It's the secrets that you don't want to know is what I think. Let's just keep that, but
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, betas.
Anyway,
Betas.
random.
All right.
Tangent.
Hey, Chris says we're
360.
here now. Yeah, 360.
360, yeah. You've got some rain. They keep promising it every day. It doesn't come here. It's still ridiculously hot, and I've got edit. The big machine behind me is churning out insane amounts of heat as it is working. And
Do you have
there's no
AC?
aircon here. No,
Oh no.
no.
Chris's comment is great. You'll find your grandpa's old ASCII art nudie pics. That's amazing.
Brilliant.
There you go. Good comment. You win so far today. So,
Yep.
Small Brown Frocks, your lad. Do you mean lad as in your kid, or just like a mate brought it to the house and it ripped through?
I would say that means his kid.
Yeah,
that means
I
his
think
son.
so too. I think so too. But there you go. Amazing. Okay, David, we're going to have to just go with it because once the show started, it's too hard to format things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show your first page. I'll try to drop your actual hero picture in, and then we'll have to cobble through. We only got 2 entries, by the way. David Carroll, 360 grad. So shame on you. After
You've had like
all
6
of these
weeks for this one.
I faked a chemical plant explosion for you guys, and you still couldn't.
And you
make it
still
happen.
couldn't get it.
Okay.
And if this is like last time where you say that you sent it to me, I've looked through all the spam folders and everything in that account. So if you do actually have a submission and it is 16:9 aspect ratio, send it over. And the only advice I would say is that if you're creating a multi-page PDF, make sure that all of your source images are cropped to 16:9 aspect ratio. So that can be 1280 by 720, it can be 1920 by 1080, it can be whatever you need that's 16:9, and then create a multi-page PDF. Because the way Ecamm Live works is it just treats that as a PDF, but when it encounters each of the individual pages as different aspect ratios, it's not just going to auto-fit those pages. It's just not going to do that. So that's where the problem is going to be. There may be a setting that they've added now that I'm not aware of, but I'll look for that when I bring it up, David. But otherwise, we'll just have to cobble through it today, and then just try, like when you're taking your BTS photos, shoot your photos in landscape as opposed to portrait, so you don't wind up with a weird aspect ratio. So that would be my advice on that. But we'll get through it, and we have at least 5 images. But anybody who is here in the chat, if you did in fact do something that was inspired by our frame for today's show, this is it from Apocalypse Now. There's a big meal going on in a restaurant. There's a guy. He's playing some music, but he's also bitching at the people sitting at the table. We've got some Americans. We've got some French people. All kinds of things are happening over there in the movie. And that was our inspiration frame. Not to be duplicated necessarily, but to be inspired by. So if you've got something and you did send it before and for some reason I don't have it, let me know in the chat. Send it to cfchallenge@thec47.com. I'll log on and I'll try to add it to today's show. Any other news besides your big news, Caleb, that anybody wants to share? The chat included. Anybody of the Flaskers want to share anything, ask a quick question? We'll spend the next 5 minutes or so going over some of that stuff, and then I think we'll jump into our challenge. Anybody? Bueller?
I bought lots of new toys this week. Lots of
did?
road toys. Yeah, lots of sound
Amazon
stuff.
Prime? Oh, no, not Amazon Prime. Okay.
Not here. No.
Did you get the wireless Go 2?
Stuff. I got the wireless Go 2 and I got the video mic NTG.
All right.
And a whole host of other like adapters and things. So it was the thing that I can't remember what it's called, but it makes it a balanced line into an XLR for the NTG, which is quite useful.
You're muted, Caleb.
VDLXR.
You're muted.
Whoops.
There we go.
Sorry.
There you go. What were we saying?
Video mic NTG. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they've got the little adapter, which then there's two of them. There's the Plus and the Pro, the VDLXLR. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But one of them just like a power converter and takes the 3.5mm to an XLR. But the other one actually puts it to a balanced line so you can then run it down an XLR with long length.
Yep.
Which is very useful.
I wonder how that works. Are they taking 5 volts and somehow turning it into 48, which I think is possible?
Maybe.
There's definitely power stuff going on in it. I don't know.
Well, I will say, I will give you just sort of a heads up on that video mic NTG because we're using them a lot for my clients' remote studios, and I used to use one here for stuff. It tends to generally not love being powered by USB and being used at the same time. I do find that there's some weird crosstalk stuff that can happen. It's sort of a hit or miss.
That's good to know.
And also true for the Beach Tech, which I'm using right now. If I leave that plugged into mains, it definitely is a known problem. They didn't design it so that people could run it off of USB while you're using it. And I actually had a whole conversation with somebody who works at Beach Tech, and I was like, so many people are using these now in a more, fixed environment. And if they're using it for, a setup like this, and they're running a mic that needs phantom power for 8-10 hours a day, I know that they say that the battery's supposed to last for 10 hours, but let's be honest, if you've got that thing running all day long, there's a good chance it's going to go poo-pah. And there's no battery option in there. It's just a rechargeable battery. So just something to know.
So when you were saying that you're getting bits of interference on that, is that when you're powering it via the USB and actually running it as a USB input as a sound source? Well, you can't
do both. No, you can't do both because there's only one USB-C port on there, and then there's a mini jack for 1/8-inch 3.5 millimeter. So what I'm saying is, if you're trying to power and use it at the same time over USB,
so you're taking the sound out of the jack, you're powering it via USB, and that's causing the issue.
Yes, correct. And it's a hit or miss. Like, it depends on what you're plugged into or if there's crosstalk from other, cables. Because sometimes you guys even said to me, we hear that buzz noise or whatever it was. And then the next day I would, use the same microphone and it wouldn't be a problem, but move things around. But it's just finicky. So just look out for it and make sure it's fully charged the day of, the day before you go into production. It lasts for a crap ton of time, for sure. But I always get nervous with internal, non-replaceable, rechargeable batteries because, it can be a problem.
Yeah.
So, what do we got here? David's doing the aperture lighting course, I think it's called.
I saw they were doing
test.
that again. Yeah.
And then, so there you go. And by the way, it looks like NAB is going to happen. I know that NAB is saying it's going to happen, but it looks like this show is going to
Like it might actually happen.
Yeah. So, and my intel is they're going to do October, and then they're going to turn around and then do April again. So I think they're trying. Yeah, I think they're trying to
get back to normal.
Well, I mean, think about it. With IBC at the beginning of September, it's kind of crazy that they're doing those on top of each other. And then now, Cinegear is in September, I think. Everything's just all turned upside down. Yeah.
It's weird, though. I mean, if April happens... I think that's going to be back to when it's going to be back to the full show. I think October's going to be NAB Light this year, isn't it? Surely. It's not going to be the full. It's not going to be.
Well, I know that the training conference is going to be scaled back, and I have a feeling that we're not going to see 100,000 people there. But if that means I can get a table at Lotus Siam anytime I want, then who cares? I mean, let's go. Really, I just want to hang out with you guys anyway. So that's the
this is the thing. I want to as soon as Europeans are allowed to visit the States. So we now in the EU have allowed US citizens who are vaccinated to come here.
Right.
So I'm hoping that very shortly the US will follow suit and allow us vaccinated from here to come there.
Got it.
And that everything for NAB hinges on this. So I'm kind of we'll see. But desperate to come over in October.
Yeah.
Even if NAB doesn't happen, I'm going to come over, I think.
Yeah, just come over. All right, so now Small Brown Fox, I think is a good follow-up. He drops a power bank on his Video Mic NTG over lunch. The truth is that when I'm using the Beach Tech device as well, what I do sometimes as a backup is I just plug in a USB power bank into it. That does not create the same problems as plugging into mains. It's a mains power issue when you're plugging into the wall. That's where I'm getting the noise issues. So if you just get a little small power bank and you have that as a backup for your Video Mic NTG, you could even just rig it off of your boom pole or something just to make sure that if you're not going direct into your system over USB. So that's one way around that as well. Cool. I didn't know
Chris
they were giving.
Asked,
Yeah, go ahead.
Chris asked, is there a good microphone for dock work that can be used? I'm trying to find the comment. It's something like that. Oh, super awesome mic that I can use for docks. Also plug in for podcasts and Zoom. I think anything phantom powered and just get a little audio interface device.
Yeah.
There's one that I've played with that's awesome.
A mic or an audio interface device?
Interface. It's tiny. And it sounds great. Look it up here.
Really quiet. Yeah, so what I'm using right now is I'm now using the NTG 5. Is that what it's called? Which is their newest lightweight. And then I'm plugging that into the Beach Tech. But that's overkill for a lot of situations. I have that so that when I go and do live streams and stuff for clients, I have something where I can plug in from a board. The only thing I don't love about it is that the XLR inputs don't have the 1/4 inch input in the middle, which is really genius. A lot of XLR inputs will also have a 1/4 inch in the center, so you can plug in either a balanced 1/4 inch or a balanced XLR cable. And that's the one thing, besides the powering off of USB, that I'd like them to upgrade on this. But it's really quiet. I mean, I would say that this is comparable to the Juice Link stuff. And thank you for bringing it to my attention.
There's the thing I was talking about.
It looks pretty.
Audience Evo 4.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to go full screen on that. Let me just see. And how much is it? $120. Buck and change. $130, but nice and small.
Yeah. But there's your combo jacks.
Those are combo jacks. So can you zoom into
and
that?
It can feed ES.
Yeah. So you see that, everybody? Right
over here.
Yep. That's combo jack. Perfect.
But you can feed monitor speakers too.
Oh,
all from
sweet.
one
and USB-C, which I love.
Yeah, instrument, headphone, USB C, and then it has really cool features, but 48 volts. A mute
Is
button.
it battery?
Which
Is it
oh
battery
wait, does it
or
have a
what
mute
is it?
button? No, it's over USB to your computer.
Yeah.
I thought it had a mute button. I can't recall, but that's like super rare to find a mute button on stuff. But yeah, great little device.
Very cool.
Yep. 416's great. Definitely don't overlook in interior locations a cardioid mic, just because it doesn't have that tail the same way a lot of others do, especially when you're in spaces that have HVAC vent systems in the ceiling. But there's a lot of options, and of course, there's a few people online who really know audio very well. Curtis Judd is one of them. So check out his videos. What's the Deity BPTRX 360 grad? I think I have heard of it, but I don't know.
It's Ben's favorite company for starters, and secondly, it's like it's a multiple things. It's one device that looks like a body pack, but it can be a transmitter, it can be a receiver, it can be an audio interface for your computer, time code. It does everything. One device.
Yeah, it's very cool. I don't have it. I just put some better cables in the boxes, boys. That's all I'm the products are great, just better cables.
Well, I mean, that's I think a pretty consistent issue we're seeing is that there's some really great products out there. They're just not 100%. I mean, even I'm having some really finicky things. I know Caleb is also. The ATEMs are rockstar products, but there's been some funny little things happening with those boxes that are inexplicable. It's like that noise that you hear and you take it to the mechanic and then you can't reproduce it. A lot of that happens. So I just had a day where I just couldn't get something to happen, and I just turned things on, off, different order, and all of a sudden it just woke up and it started playing nice again. Cool. Is there any reason to bother with Letrasonic these days with so much decent gear coming out these days? Yes, I think so. I mean, look, Letrasonic is really a US. Yeah, if you're what?
I was just going to say, if you're about to put a microphone on a multi-million dollar on Tony Stark and he's about to climb on a boat with seawater splashing around.
Yeah,
and drive away, and you need to hear
Letrasonic
him.
They make amazing stuff, and they are built for sound recordists. They're really great products, and they have really small versions of their packs and everything and their receivers, but they're just priced out of what most people can invest in. But again, when you start looking at Shep's mics, then you start looking at Letrasonic's kit. They're all sort of in that same realm, and it's a big jump for a lot of people to do an MKH 416, especially when you have so many of these options out there. And you'll find that there are, just do a search on YouTube, there are mics that are a tenth of the price of an MKH 416, which are not 416s, but they're pretty dang close. It's just, are you going to get a good copy of that mic? Because I've heard that sometimes you get a good copy of that Chinese mic, sometimes you don't, and you can get lucky or unlucky, and that makes a big difference. So your $200 may be better spent on $1,000 if it's something you're going to use every day. But if it's in a box and you bring it out every 3 months, what's the point? I guess. Cool. All right. What do we got with News Shooter? Oh, this the Atomos thing that just got announced today.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting.
The switcher thing.
It turns it into a super, super light version of the ATEM Mini with a display.
Right.
What it's but it doesn't stream.
So it turns the Ninja 5. That's what it's called. So it's compatible with the Ninja 5. It clips onto it, gives you buttons to then turn that into a switcher and using that as the monitor. Kind of cool.
Is it $299 or $399? I think $299. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they're finally doing something with that multi-port that they talked about when they first released the Ninja 5 or first announced the Ninja 5.
Yep.
So hopefully we get more cool stuff like that. It's a pretty cool concept.
I agree. Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
a
I'd like to see
space.
more stuff like that.
And then I don't know how I feel about it. I love my small HD 13-inch monitor, but they now have a 4K version of that monitor, very high nit, kind of its own unique product because there really isn't anything that has that output and that resolution on the market. But it's $4,700 US, and when you're talking about a 4K monitor and you're talking about its usability in production and post, there's no fucking way in hell that I'm spending $4,700 on a 13-inch monitor. I'm going to go 24-inch, larger. I just
the 13 cost that much?
The 13, and it's a very unique product, but is that what an AC is going to pull focus on? I mean, the de facto standard in the industry prior to all of these new crop of monitors was the Panny 17-inch, right? That was kind of like the one that everybody had. And I just don't. I love that they're doing that, but I just don't see 13-inch as 13-inch to me. Fine, let's keep it HD. I don't see there being a huge benefit there. I know it's pixel to pixel. Is that's what the final price is going to? Oh, that's the Neon. Yeah,
that's the Neon.
And the Neon
is $500 off.
Right, and it's a 17-inch.
$3,500.
And that's a monitor recorder. But look, I don't have experience with either one of these. I like the products that both of these companies are making, or at least a good percentage of the products that they're making. But it just seems like an odd move to go 13 on that.
Yeah.
But there may be a huge market for it. I just want to buy a product that is going to be able to be used on set, on location, and at the edit desk. Suite, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing sweet about mine, but you know what I mean.
I do, and the best thing about all of that is it means we can now fucking swear all we fucking want because you fucking swear in that, so we can say we're Rob Belief.
I did swear. You're right. I'm sorry. What were you going to say about Caleb? What were you saying, Dave? What?
Oh, what's hilarious is I gave up on this whole situation, and I just got in the mail today the Sumo 19.
Yeah.
So circa 2000 whatever 20.
Yeah, but you bought it. You bought it dirt cheap.
No,
ish.
I bought it for $2,000.
All right,
but a new one. But okay. The thing I'm struggling with is the way I want to use these production monitors is I want it to be wireless, and for the most part, unless you spend a lot of money, that's all 1080p anyway. So I was like, you know what? And I wanted the small HD 17, but $3,500 for an HD display, I just couldn't do it.
I know.
Whereas the Atomos gives me most of what I need. It also can record if I need it to. It's crazy bright and all that good stuff. So, would have liked to have gone small HD, but again, another $1,500 for that. I just couldn't do it.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Someday, though, all this stuff will drop. All of it will come down.
It will. All right. Well, we're at the halfway point, or just past it. So I think it's time to get into the challenge. Let's bring everybody up to speed on what we're talking about. I will say that I very much enjoy this. I like doing this because it forces me to do something that I'm not doing every day. And, yeah. So... Then again, I didn't shoot it till yesterday. You had thought it would have been in the can weeks ago. But
I shot mine. I spent 20 minutes on it an hour and a half ago, or whenever I sent you that email.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I also did mine at about 5 o'clock this evening.
Yeah. All right. So here we are. Apocalypse Now. This is, I can't remember. It's somewhere around the 2-hour mark or so. You can go into Shot Deck and check it out. When you bring up each of these stills, they tell you a lot of information. What was that clearing your throat?
I'm gonna chuck in an excuse for mine from the get-go here.
Okay.
Because for the reference image, and I was trying to remember where there was a link to it or where it was, and I knew it was on Shot Deck, but I just referenced back to the episode in which we set this challenge, right? And now, having just seen you play this back, there's a shitload more detail on that guy's face than there was on what I was using for the reference.
But wait a minute. Didn't you use just the thumbnail? Because the thumbnail for the episode is this image.
No, I was going back to the episode to just remember what we were talking about. I just freeze framed it. So everything where his to the right of his sideburn there is nothing on the reference shot that I was using. So when you see mine, just bear that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Copy.
All right.
Now to bring up a couple of other things looking at this image, one of the things that we all noticed a few weeks ago was it seems like it's a single source. Obviously, it's magic hour when this dinner is supposed to be happening. And if you've seen the scene, there's a big long table in a restaurant where people are eating together. And it is very, very warm light. But if you look at the background and then you look at the foreground, there's definitely some differences in terms of whether one is cooler and one is warmer. What's interesting is that I brought up the version of Apocalypse Now that I own, which is the Redux version, and I brought that up in iTunes, and they have clearly, because those stills apparently, at least per shot deck, are pulled from the original movie in the 70s. But if you look at the new frames, they've clearly gone through and done another grading pass, because the difference between the foreground and the background is not nearly as drastic as it is in that still.
Interesting.
So it's interesting that we talked about it a few weeks ago, and there's clearly been some sort of pass where they're trying to match that lighting a little bit more, because my guess is they use two different sources. One of them may have even been inside of the space, bounced or something else, and then they had that exterior light coming in through the window. That's my guess, but I might be wrong. Yeah. Man, so there you go.
All right, let's get into it.
Good. Okay, so we've got Ben, Jem, Caleb, David, and as we lovingly know him as 360 Grad. So what order are we going to do in this? I have I haven't seen Ben's or Caleb's, so but because they have a page.
What do you want to do, chat?
Yeah,
let's do chat first.
Chat. We'll do chat. Yeah, but let's also let the chat help us.
Okay.
Who do you want to see first, Chatty?
Let's do it. Doesn't matter to me. Let's go.
First answer is it. Whoever gets
first one that comes into there. David, 360, Jem, Ben, Caleb. And now we got 22 minutes.
There is.
Wow.
In a delay.
Everybody's getting another drink. Everybody's getting another drink.
First, you three guys.
Okay, but that's not a person. So Grumpy Penguins first. Okay, here's Grumpy Penguins. I would love to see Grumpy Penguins. Come on, where is Grumpy Penguin?
Someone go check on that guy. Jeez.
Yeah, come on. Let's get a name here. We've got 5 people. Let's get a name. Whoever puts the name up here. You gave us so much time for
Caleb.
This one. Oh, that's what they all say, Colin. Colin, give us a name.
For the next challenge.
Chris, a name. Let's go. We need a
360
name.
said
Caleb.
There we go.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we just needed one name. Okay, Caleb, here we go. Opening up, let's look at the reference frame one more time. There it is. That's for inspiration. We're going into Caleb here, and page 1 of 2. Caleb, do we have any setup here as a VO, or do we go into it? What do you want to tell us?
Setup is A6500 because it was the first camera I grabbed. Sigma 30 mil. One.
Yep.
No. You just go to the shot. We'll talk about it once it's up.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So this is shot on what's the lens?
Is that a red camera in the foreground?
37B.
Wait, what is this red camera in? Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
It's the Mir 37B. So it's a 37 millimeter f2.8, I think, maybe f2. But I noticed in the original shot there was kind of some swirly action in the bokeh.
Yep.
So I thought I'd kind of try to replicate it looked like a wider lens. So I went with that. Camera's kind of oriented like the people were. And then the only lighting in there is that lamp that you see in the shot. So
right, that's everything.
So I do have a bounce card off to the right camera right, kind of filling in that foreground red camera. And that's pretty much it. And I went warm with it. I'm kind of getting into that, like, I don't know. I feel like when you watch movies, like I used to, and I still do, when I film stuff, everything's correct, right? My white balance is correct. It matches everything. When you watch movies, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the magical things about movies is it's wrong and it looks great. So I'm kind of these days kind of just messing around with just weird stuff.
I'm convinced.
And because I can.
Yep. Go ahead.
Here is a quick overhead just for kicks. Camera, two cameras, lamp, fill. Just kind of give an idea. Although it's
and that's
pretty simple.
And that's how you got those highlights over there on the right-hand side is from that bounce card. If that wasn't there, you wouldn't be seeing that return of light.
Yeah, the camera would be
right
black.
side frame.
You would just see a little kind of skip off the top and side.
And what was your fill? Was it silver? Was it white? Was it gold? What were you using?
It was poster board.
Okay. And
Just
is this
like-
a
just
video
like
still? Yeah, just like a white poster board.
Right.
360
I don't
grad
remember the
saying, is it
exact
photo?
settings, but wide
No, he's
open,
saying is it photo?
you know.
Is it a photo or is it a video still, like pulled from video?
Oh, yeah, it's a photo. Mm-hmm.
It's a photo. Okay, cool. And is this a little bit of a little precursor to a Red episode that you're working on potentially?
Maybe. So I did a video on the red in the background there, the red
Right.
one.
Yeah.
And then the foreground is the Scarlet, the original Scarlet.
Oh, that's the Scarlet. Okay.
X. Yeah, Scarlet X or MX. So I was going to do a video on it, but honestly, with the new Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro,
Okay. Yeah.
why?
Right.
But I still might do a video. The concept originally, when I bought that last summer, I think it was like building the cheapest red. You know, instead of like, oh, the camera body is this much, and then you spend twice that on the accessories. I wanted to like, how can you scrap together the cheapest red?
Do you know what though?
Which is what that
It's
camera
still when you're doing corporate stuff. I was doing a thing last year, and the guys were going, why don't you shoot on red? You know, right.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
I think I'll
just
still do
having
the video.
the cheapest thing you could put, or just get a sticker. A sticker's maybe cheaper.
I love it when you make those videos, though. I think they're great. And
Yeah, they are great.
Yeah.
and when you're talking about
Thank you.
the whole comment about movies and films and stuff like that, I think you're absolutely right. I think what happens is, especially with seasoned DPs and cinematographers, is at a certain point, they're so confident in terms of what it is that they're trying to accomplish for the story they're telling. They get away from that whole everything has to be perfectly balanced. A lot of DPs embrace not only mixed lighting, but like Rodney Charters, I mean, very early on was adopting even very green skewed LED lights, and he just embraced them. He's like, what do we see in the real world, and then they movieized that and make it look. I don't know.
Did either of you see Ozarks, the Netflix
Some of it.
season series?
Yes.
So they shot everything at, I think it was like 4,400 Kelvin or 4,000 Kelvin. So everything's off. Every scene, it's off.
Everything's
So it's
warm
off
or
like-
cold.
Yeah, everything, and it's got this.
You mean in camera? So you're saying the
Yeah.
fixtures are probably daylight, and then they're tuning
Yeah,
it.
but then
It's
they
a
go-
lot of
they go
outdoor
into
stuff,
tungsten
too.
Interior.
Yeah.
But so everything's off, so nothing's lit for what the
Yeah.
camera's set to. So when you go outside,
Amazing.
everything looks horrible and cold, and it's
Yeah.
in this place. It's obviously this summery resort, so it kind of
Yeah.
takes that warmth off it and makes it feel a little more intimidating than it is. And the same when you go indoors, is that everything just feels sickly and wrong. And it's. I read a really good interview with the DP about the choice to why they'd done that as just a kind of tool to unsettle people.
Good.
It's a good It's a really good
dying for
series. I
season
really
3.
enjoyed it.
Love it. All right.
Really good.
15 minutes, kids. 16, but really 15.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang.
Here we go. All right, so let's go to one of our flaskers over here. David, we're gonna attempt this, okay? I'm gonna go to a blank page here, and I'm gonna drop your image in, so we have your hero image, and hopefully it will format correctly. Let's cross our fingers. There it is. Ooh, hey now.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think So I guess the question is, why is this not 16:9? But I think we're getting the gist of this right now. So you can jump in, David, if you have any comments in the chat about this. Something's happening in that background there that doesn't look very promising. There's something bad happened. And I'm going to go to the PDF right now, and we'll see if we can extract some data. Just know that I'm going to be formatting. Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
It just looks like something that's happened in your kill room. There's like a mannequin in the foreground. There's something dead in the background.
It's Chucky.
That Jem's hand?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're ridiculous. Let's see. We get some data here. So I'm going to have to move this around a little bit. So we've got... This is the problem. Here we go. One more time, kids. One more time. Here we go. Boom. Page 2. Where's the trigger warning? For fuck's sake. I didn't say that. So we've got... what are we shooting on here? This is... There you go. So we've got EOS R 1250, a 50th f7.1. So relatively deep depth of field. Focal length 35, aperture 300x, no modifiers, black wrap with some fill, light room for tweaking, so definitely pushed as a still image, and you can see it was even storyboarded out, and there you go.
That's impressive. That's really impressive.
It is.
Yeah, gotta hand it to David. He really throws it all in there. He really goes for it and documents it, and so props to you, David. Every single time, I think.
Yeah, this is a documentary film that might scare the living crap out of me, but it's okay other than that. And that's a good
You're
thing.
You're going to feel right at home there,
Jen.
Don't worry about it. This is going to be right up your street.
You mean your image?
No, this image that we're looking at right here. This is...
You cheeky bastard. All right, there we go. So this is giving everybody a setup here. And what I love about when we see these things is that, you know, it's what you see, not what the reality is. Meaning that's Hollywood. That's what making images is all about. And that's, you know, it doesn't really matter what the space is. It's what we see in the frame. So that's very different than seeing, you know, a living room with a bunch of DVDs and a couch and all that stuff. So just come up with something. Chris's comment though. Chris, you're killing it today. It's a 60s doll, and that's my hand. I don't know if you ever want to put that into a chat, but I like it because it's a 60s doll, and that's my hand. I wonder if has that doll been passed down? What? Caleb, keep it together, brother. Keep it together. I love you, man.
Naughty
no,
man.
that's not what I meant. Well, I don't know what you thought I meant. Yes.
Next time we're together in a bar somewhere, remind me to tell you the story about the dolls and when I used to work in a camera shop.
Everything is going downhill. Guys, we have 12 minutes here. Let's go.
Right.
Okay.
12 minutes.
Let's do. Are we going to one of the hosts? Or are we going to David?
Ben.
Yeah, David.
He was
David
up there.
David, it's healthy to beat yourself up a little bit, but just keep creating, because I like that image and it definitely has impact. And there's you know,
it does. It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Look at that. Come on. Got a little
right.
edge light there. Good. Okay. Loving it. Don't beat yourself up. Just get that 16:9 aspect ratio, because the interwebs loves it based on these screens. That's the main reason. Okay, cool. So Ben.
Cam is a picky lady.
Yes. Ben, do you have anything to say about this before we get into it?
I've gone very literal. I've used no imagination whatsoever and just tried to copy the frame with what I had available in my kitchen and the people that I had in my house. But yeah, just referencing back that the image that I was using had absolutely no detail on his face. So what I was going for was no detail on his face at all, and just this very hard, warm light, this kind of rim light. And so that's what I went for. And I was using my daughter in place of him, and I did want to just get a little bit of her eye in, so you can see a little of that, but then everything to the right of that is gone. But I desperately wanted to put a bounce card in to make it look more like this, and I didn't, because I was trying to make it look like the wrong frame. But anyway.
Right. All right, let's do it then. Here we go. And boom. Oh, I thought it was formatted. because I just dropped it in. I don't ever want to see the image.
What do you mean?
So now
postcard.
It is formatted. It's a PDF. It's got a black page and then that. There you go.
Oh, I like that. I like the warmth. So is it single light or what is it?
So it's daylight lighting my son, that's Lenny standing behind, and my daughter Evie is being lit by an Aperture 120 with the Fresnel lens directly at her with a load of gel on it to just warm that up massively to make. So it's a bigger difference in the original frame, I think. I was hoping for a little bit of warm evening light and it being a little harder light onto Lenny in the background, like it is on, his face is blown on that reference image. I was also trying to work out on lenses because there's so much barreling going on in the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, I can give you some data on that from.
Okay, cool. Be very interested to know what that was.
Well, at least it doesn't tell you exactly what focal length they used, but it was anamorphic, which tends to
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what's
my guess,
creating all of that funkiness. Yep.
Yeah. These are really the widest anamorphic they had at the time. Close up, which really gets funky.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Although you did harsh lighting, which I forgot to mention in mine. I completely bailed on that. I had a smaller lamp that was harsh, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going soft.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was literally, but the same concept.
Yours is cool because I like the way that you've got the cameras facing in the same way that the people are, and you've interpreted it, and you actually thought about it in a much more creative way. Whereas I've just tried to copy it, and
we should also probably in the future when we're talking about and thinking about our shots is mention what we took from it. So for me, it was single light, multiple elements, right?
Yep.
You got someone getting keyed immediately by the source, someone else getting kind of like a rim with a little, just a touch of fill. So that was kind of my takeaway is how can I get one light?
Yep.
Because it's kind of tricky. They're not close to each other, those two subjects.
No.
It's a tricky balance.
Let's do 360 grad then. Here we go. You ready?
Do it.
Boom.
Send it.
There you go.
Get out of here, dude.
Come on,
Whoa.
What are we looking at right now?
Now and look at this. Well, this is what we're looking. You know what, Caleb? You win the lottery, man. There you go. Look at that.
The acting of the children still reminds me of my Eastern Bloc sadness. Amazing.
That's awesome. Love it. And he used the F7, the Aperture F7. So you get points for that.
You always get brownie points for that. Always.
Yep. DaVinci Resolve Premiere Pro C200. 16-35, and that's basically the setup, and we get that other image from that, which is awesome.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Nice work, dude.
But the acting of the children, oh my God.
That's brilliant.
Amazing. There will definitely be other challenges, Chris, by the way. That's great. I love it. And I think this is a good example of just being inspired by the frame, but there's a lot of things that are pulled from that. So, yeah.
The light you've got in the foreground there is
it says 360. I want to say my work is not really good, but I wanted to do it like Caleb and use a still frame from a video, and it was first time I did green screen. Really? Wow. Okay. Wow. That's cool.
Nice, dude.
Nice. Good.
I was going to add that next is like you went for it. You did the C200, which we didn't require, but extra credit, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
Because that's way harder. It's so much easier to just be like, hey, you know what? Screw it. 1/16th of a second or whatever shutter and just go nuts. Whereas video is a lot harder.
Yeah, well, so I pulled a still from video, and one of the things I try to do in the challenge is I try to think about if I had to shoot this as video, could I replicate that in terms of my settings on my camera? So I did have it set to a 48th. I did set it to a very low ISO. I set it to 160. And I did that because I looked at the film stock and they shot it at 100. And I was like, and I definitely was inspired by hard light. And I'll bring mine up so we can take a look at it because we don't have a lot of time left. And I think I'm kind of like in between Caleb and you, Ben, in that I didn't necessarily want to duplicate exactly, but there was enough from that shot that I definitely was going in that direction. So I kind of duplicated the shot, I would say, in a sense, but differently. So
Cool.
I was originally going to use 2 album covers, one in the background and one in the foreground, but that wasn't working out very well. So a trusty, I really wanted to get like a cognac, bottle because of the French influence in, and that stuff. And then that's basically what I wound up with. But I'll show you a little BTS here so you can see it. That's essentially the setup. I was using the 50 mil anamorphic lens from Sue. So I basically shot that on there and then just changed the aspect ratio in post because that's a 1:3:3 anamorphic. And I just did it because for whatever reason. And it's just a long table there. But I guess the one thing I did that was a little bit meta is I actually used a projector to project the image from the film that we're using onto the back wall. And the only reason I did it is because I really like that tusk in the background. And it's hard to see it here, but it's that shape there that was there. You can barely see it in the background. And then the thing on the left hand, so basically I use an Omni light, which is the Lowell Omni, and that's what's pushing through. And I had CTO, color temperature orange, and I had less of it hitting the record album through that Chimera window frame, and I tripled up on it for the bottle in the foreground. So that's why it feels a little bit warmer in the foreground and cooler in the background because of how much gel there is on that light. And it's just a single source. So besides what's being projected on the background, there's nothing else. And on the right side of frame, that's actually the Jura bottle that I have and I'm drinking from right now. And that's just kind of right in the foreground, this bottle right here. I clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh, okay, foreground.
That little thing in the right side of frame, that little specular highlight. And that's just a, what is it? A ladder in the background. And my copy of Synchronicity is not the translucent one. It's, I guess, an original. I can't believe people see that, though. That's pretty funny that you can see the Synchronicity album in the background. That's it. So, yeah, the Doors vinyl that you see in the BTS was actually the image of what was going to be in the foreground because it kind of has something similar to that, that person in the foreground here. But I just didn't like the way it looked, so then I switched it to the bottle. So that's what I got for you. But it was fun to figure it out.
Like that very much.
Nice.
There you go.
Good work.
And it allowed me to pull some stuff out of the crate and stuff that I haven't used in a long time, like that Lowell Omni, which still to this day is one of my favorite little fixtures. I didn't put a squeeze box on it. I just left it as a 500, but because I was shooting at 160 ISO. And I think I shot it at 2 or 2.8 on that anamorphic lens. So there you go.
Good job.
There you go. So we'll do this again for sure. And I think, the next time it would be really great if somebody from the Flask crew actually picked a frame. So is there anybody here who is part of Shot Deck? If you are, great, because that would be a nice way to, pick a frame and then have it as a reference. But probably not for next week. I think we'll leave next week as just sort of a general chat. But I'd like to do another one in a few weeks, 2-3 weeks from now or so would be great.
Yeah, these are fun.
Nice.
Yeah, and get more specific, like you said, Caleb. Like dial in so that as if you were shooting video or something like that. What were you gonna say, Caleb? Or
Sweet.
Ben?
Oh, your comment about your light pulling it out of the bin. That Lowell.
Yeah.
Lol. Gave me an idea for maybe a future episode where we talk about the first 1 or 2 items we ever bought for video in each category. Like our first light.
I love it.
First, second, third light. First ever or second ever camera. Audio gear. I think that'd be kind of fun. It's kind of like talk about why we bought it, how we got it, what we did with it, what we hated about it. Kind of
I'd love
trip
to
down
do that.
memory lane, as they say.
If I can remember what my first light was that I bought.
Yeah. Or just early stuff. Yeah.
I would love to do that. I think we should do it
That's a good subject.
within the
Let's do
next
that.
few weeks.
For
And,
the three of
yeah.
us, it's mostly going to be like household items for a lot of that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Or for lighting, at least. Whereas
Yeah.
these days, all the kids, they can just go out and buy a $15 LED panel.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thanks, China.
Yeah. Thanks, Roz, for coming. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
I think that's more than one episode too, because when I look at it, it's sort of how did they get started, and then where did I wind up?
Maybe it's each category in the history. Start from like ground zero, day one, to kind of now. You don't have to hit every piece of gear, but just kind of like the highlights.
Do we have to
Like when
have
you
still
saved up
images
and,
to support it, or can we just like start?
But if you can
so
find stuff on, just Google images if you can find it or think of it. But that could be kind of fun. The milestones,
cameras?
as you were.
Should we do cameras next week? Lighting? What should we do? I can do. I mean, next week that's not a big. I could do cameras. Trip down camera lane. Can you do that by next week with your workload or not, Ben? You don't have to put it. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to have
Just
an
Google
image that
images
supports everything.
if you want.
Which
Yeah,
is just like
or nothing.
I haven't owned that many cameras, really. You know?
No.
It's. I think I can pull together a still for every camera.
I mean, if we each do
15
5 or
minutes.
less cameras,
Yeah.
that's 15
cool.
cameras to talk about in an hour, plus talking with the chat.
Oh, and we'll definitely do lenses in the future, small brown fox. But let's start with cameras. The capturing device. All right, so next week we're going to talk about cameras, and we're going to start with hopefully the first camera we all used, and then milestone camera systems that had impact. Probably, if people have been watching this, they know a good fair amount of that, but I think there'll be a couple of surprises in there that will come up.
I'm curious about the oldies. Fun.
We're going back to things that most people won't remember the model numbers of. I think. Yeah. I'm struggling to remember the model numbers of now.
Well, I remember my first
200
camera for sure. I remember my
Mine's
first.
a much shorter
stills.
history, so.
No, and we can start. I mean, Ben, don't feel like you can't start with a stills camera because it's really about those milestones of cameras that started you on capturing. No, video cameras not only, Colin. So I think it's really our little trip down memory lane of those milestone cameras that had impact, starting with, if you can remember it, what was the first camera that you really started to use.
Cool.
I think that would be great. Cool, Chris. I love that. Good.
That is rad, Chris.
Yeah, really cool. Awesome.
So next week, history of cameras.
History of cameras.
Or our camera history.
Yes, and we should all come up with half a dozen images just pulled from Google or something that just give everybody in the chat a visual reference in terms of what those are. Could you, one of you fellows, by end of day Friday, just put together a reminder email to me of history of cameras? I don't need a description or anything like that, just to remind me with what's going on. Just send it when we're done, Ben. Look at him with that smirk. I mean, come on. That's a
quick hack. I know we're over time here, but if you say, hey, her name of your phone assistant, set an alarm for whatever the time you want to have the alarm go off to remind me to do this. No, I'm just saying it's an amazing hack. It changed my life because you can set an alarm, not a reminder, an alarm to remind you to do something.
But
I
wait
use
a
that
minute.
like 7 times a day.
But wait a minute. I do too, but the problem that I have still, and we're on iOS 15 or something like that, is I can't say set an alarm for Saturday at 8 a.m. to do this. 24
hours or whatever.
It's always 24 hours. What is that? So now I have to set an alarm for every Saturday at 8:05 a.m. to do something. Couldn't they have figured that out and say within a 7-day window?
I email myself constantly because if it's an email, it's in there and I'm going to see it.
I love that you do the same things I do. Yeah, you are thinking like an old man because these are all the things I do.
What we also noticed this week, because Jago and I are working together on this big, we're both doing a lot of location work for this feature, and like we'll be talking, and then I was go away from camera, and I've worked out that you can activate each other's that word because when you're on a video call.
Yeah.
So then he set my alarm to go off at 2:30 a.m.
What a turd.
Unbelievable. Well, I never have
amazing.
Siri. The only way Siri activates on my devices at all is I have to press a button. There's nothing in my house that allows me to just speak out loud and have somebody listening
I use it
to
all
me,
the time.
except for my children.
In the car.
In the car is different, but in your house, you know, when I'm yelling at my kids,
That's
I don't
true.
want Siri to like.
When you got
know,
prankster kids.
prankster kids for sure. Look at you shooting that all. What just happened here? Something just came up. I can't see it. Oh, come on.
50 Canadian, Chris. What?
Are you kidding me? You insane human being. Come on. That's a lot of money, Chris. All right, Chris is going to have a drink. Chris is going to have a drink. Chris, you better get your butt over to Las
NAB,
Vegas.
we'll buy you.
Yeah, we'll buy you a drink. Or we'll take your money
With your
buy
money.
you a drink. With your money. We're going to buy you a drink. Yeah, that means we're going to buy you a drink. Yeah, it's like $3 US. It might be down to $2.50. The thing is that I like getting Canadian money now because I'm not allowed to go to Canada. So it makes me feel better that at least through this I can have a little bit of Canada.
You're not allowed to go to
Smell the
Canada.
maple leaves.
Unbelievable.
No, Canada's shutting us out, I think. Still.
Oh, we're totally shut out, except for here.
That's
That's what I'm
right.
saying. I can get a super chat from Chris, which is amazing, but I can't go there. Which, oddly enough, was my last flight to anywhere was to Canada, to Edmonton for a job, and I haven't been on an airplane since. So
No, it's
It's
been
okay.
a long time.
Yep.
Long time.
it's okay. Do I miss
Now
it? A
that
little bit.
sorrowful,
Yes, let's
wet
go.
maple leaf note. It's 6:07.
A 60s doll and a hand.
Crazy.
And until next week, we will be talking about old cameras. And I like this. It was good. More challenges
Retro.
in the
Makes
future.
you feel better when you say retro.
Retro is a good thing. Oh, by the way, and I know we're leaving in a second, I have a tiny little box that I bought, which is a Raspberry Pi box. It was $190. It has 30,000 retro video games on it, and it is smaller than an iPhone. It's like 2 NP
And a little bit illegal.
batteries. That's not, I bought it online. I mean, not on the dark web. It's not much
Because
bigger than this
that makes it
battery here.
legal. It's on the internet, so it's legal.
Shut your face. Shut your face. Hey, if I can play every version of Street Fighter and
He's-
Donkey Kong that I want to play, get the hell out of here. What do you want to say, Ben? Say it.
He's probably old enough to use that defense in court now. Still, that's probably.
Yes, that's good. Oh man, that was a good one. That's a good one. And that's
All right. Love you guys.
Props, Ben.
Till next week. Bye, everybody.
guys,
Thanks
too.
for coming. See you. Bye.
Bye bye.
yep.
This is good
Bye
fun.
bye.